What up, all my gamer friends? Very recently, a couple days ago on the Awards Daily website, there was an interview with the Fallout show creators Graham Wagner and Geneva Robertson Dworet. And this is a pretty sweet interview, and it drops some tidbits about the show and the creating of the show and the characters and whatnot. So I was going to get into that after the intro. You know what you gotta do, like and subscribe. But the interview right here. So the first question is a good question, actually. Words Daily, what made you decide that Fallout was a video game you wanted to turn into a TV show? Geneva, we've been looking for something to join forces on for a very long time. We have been friends for a long time and have been a fan of Graham's comedy work for years, but it wasn't clear to people why an action drama writer from film and a comedy TV writer would be teaming up. Fallout, thank God, had the perfect tone for us to join forces. It's a world with action and drama as well as moral dilemmas and incredible violence, but also very weird comedy beats. So I was delighted when Jonathan Nolan in 2019 called and said he was getting the rights to Fallout. Would you develop a show that write it for me? I said yes, but it would have to be with Graham. Thankfully, Athena Wickman and Jonathan said no problem. Graham, this is a case of working in two different genres for so long. You get used to what you do, but it's also a little like the grass is always greener on the other side. I thought Geneva's work was more exciting and just cooler. So working on this, we got to integrate our skill set and the one big lawn. There is no fence. Okay. The show is already well known for taking on the world of Fallout, even some of the character types that you can play within the games, but it isn't based on any particular game or characters. What was behind that choice? It's pretty much how all the games have been. Exactly. Every game is just a new chapter in the world, so we had a choice to retell one of their chapters or do what the games have been doing all along and do another chapter ourselves. With all our hubris, we decided to do the latter, partially because it was most appealing and fun space to be in creatively, and the other is how would you adapt Fallout 1, 2, or New Vegas? Every player's experience is completely different, so it would be losing exercise, I think. The story I tell is when I was playing Fallout 4, I shot my own son in the face. So that was my experience, and if we adapted that for fans, a lot of them wouldn't like that. Understandably, because it was the wrong move. I can tell this guy's joking with the way he says it. I shouldn't have shot my son in the face like that. Oh man, that's fucking funny. Geneva. For us, it was so exciting because here's this incredible sandbox of great lore that you can pick from. Then we got to develop our own story and our own characters. We got to spend 2019 and 2020 developing the outline of the pilot and figuring out what story within this world we felt was most pressing to tell. You mentioned New Vegas, and that appears to be where Hank is headed, an area known to many of gamers. How do you plan on dealing with the well-known areas and factions within that place? So this is kind of a little of a bit of a hint towards Season 2. Geneva, hard to answer without spoilers, but needless to say, there's plenty we want to explore. It is a really brilliant game, very funny in places, which we are very drawn to. Graham is one of the darker ones in my view. What we can say is time has gone by since the events of New Vegas. That is the closest we can get without into any spoilers. I haven't played New Vegas in a long time, so I can't even remember how it ends, or I don't even know if I finished it. Remember in Fallout 1, it was an isometric game that was just the top view of what's going on within the graphics of 97, which is very different from being able to run around the world in first person. With New Vegas, there are people who can navigate the map blindfolded, so we have very specific rendered game to adapt this time, which is presenting some challenges and opportunities. It is more complex than Season 1. So Season 2, it sounds like they're perhaps everything, the whole thing is going to be in New Vegas. I can see that. Another thing we can say is location is a very central idea to her show. That we are made by the world we come from. Lucy doesn't spend that much time on the surface in Season 1, and she's been transformed by the little time she's been up there. But she's going to get further and further from home in this next season, and I think that raises all sorts of interesting questions about her and if she can remain the person that she was when she was home, Or will she be transformed by the wasteland? She already has. By the end of fucking season 1, she was killing people and shit, which she had never done in her entire life. Reading this makes me want to go watch it again. I've already watched it like 2 or 3 times. But Prime, The Boys are coming out on Prime, so I should just get it again, just so I can watch The Boys. One of the things I really liked with the first season is that the big mysteries like the secret of Vault 31 and Multiverse goals were revealed. So we have closure there, but do we have new mysteries set up for the next season? How do you decide to plot out the first season that way? And are you planning on doing something similar to that going forward? Geneva. I think as a viewer, I'm always drawn to shows that just don't keep me waiting forever. I find it very annoying when there are too many seasons and then I'm just waiting around for the same question to be answered. I remember being a viewer of Breaking Bad, just being blown away by how they burned through the story. I often thought maybe this will happen at the end of the season or maybe even part of the next season. Burn through the story? Does that mean it's a good thing or a bad thing? They would just get there 2 episodes later. It would blow my mind the way they are telling the story. Oh, so like they just meant they would get to it sooner. That shouldn't be a mind-blowing thing. So I personally like to reward the audience because I like to be rewarded as an audience member to make sure we answer enough questions, while at the same time adding new questions. Because this is an ever-expanding world. Fallout, we are so lucky, is a massive sandbox, so it doesn't feel like we have to run out of things to explore just because we answer some of the questions about some of the things that we've seen. I'll delete that part. Awards Daily. There is a quote played over the teaser for the upcoming season that later we hear at the final episode from the Ghoul. You look out on this wasteland and it looks like chaos, but there's always someone behind the wheel. I can still hear Walton Goggins' classic voice. He definitely exaggerates a little bit, but goddamn, he was so good in this fucking show. Oh my god, I knew he was gonna kill it. And I would love to see him getting some kind of a nomination for how good he was as an actor. I hope they can just put aside that it's sci-fi and he's a ghoul and just focus on the fact that he's a fucking good actor. Well, Graham, we could, Right, the question is it a sense that the corporation Vault-Tec, while their vaults have been failing, that they still have a major influence in other ways? Well, yeah, they basically run the entire wasteland. Basically, which is just what the Ghoul said. That could get into spoilers, but you're onto something there. How about that? If we go any further with it, we might be out of a show, but we'd be interested in that. Geneva, I think it also goes into the factionalism that Graham was talking about that we hope to dive more into in season 2. Obviously, with Lucy as our POV character, being new to the wasteland, she has not experienced that many factions in the first season. But the unifying instinct of all factions, both in the real world and the world of Fallout, is that they want to bring the world under their own control. Essentially, write the future. Vault 31's ads, Buds, and Vault-Tec are more explicit about that than anything else. That fundamentally, what every faction wants is to control the Westland. Awards Daily. You gave an origin story for the famous Vault Boys thumbs up. What made you guys decide you wanted to do that? You can adapt a universe, but you can also expand on it. So part of the fun is not slavishly adhering to what we are adapting, but to fill out a bit more. There was an X-Men movie where they haphazardly mentioned that JFK was a mutant. That made me so happy. I think that's talking about Days of Future Past. I think so. I don't know. That made me so happy, and I just want to do things like that as much as we can in the show. I remember being in the theater when they said that. Everyone made this kind of, oh, happy sound. If you can get people to make that sound, you're doing good. I think do a little bit about Matt Berry, who I think wasn't in the show enough. I mean, who doesn't want more Matt Berry? Will we get more Matt Berry's robot? Well, we don't want any spoilers, but we are major fans. I found that a very pleasant surprise watching the show. Good. Graham, we find it a pleasant surprise as well. We are happy to borrow him from Geneva's friend and What We Do in the Shadows. Geneva, yes, the showrunner Paul Sims was kind enough to make the schedules work so we could get Matt Berry. We almost didn't get him. So that was very nice of another showrunner to bail us out that way. This is the last question of the article. With all the complexity of these characters and lore, what was the biggest challenge in making this show? Geneva. For me, as someone less familiar with the games, unlike Graham, who had been playing since '98, the thing that worried me the most is that non-gamers would find the world so expensive, so detailed. Maybe she meant expansive, and that they would be lost in it. So me and Graham did a great deal of outlining the season and pilot to try to find a way to hold the hand of the audience members who are non-gamers, so they weren't like, "What the f is a Yao Guai? Why do I care? I am out. Get me out of here." So the first-time viewers of the Fallout world are enjoying the show means a lot to me. Graham, the flip side is that not holding hands so much that it's vexing for the millions of people who have played the games, the only people who are guaranteed to watch the show, like me. So it's interesting exercise to make a show that works and is followable for both groups. I think that's something that's really unique about our collaboration. We did join forces on this project because of the unique tone and feeling like it needed both an action writer and comedy writer. But also the blessing of us collaborating has been that there are two POVs in the world of the game. I'm a little bit of an outsider, where Graham is a gamer for 25 years following this universe. So hopefully that has led us to a show that can appeal to a broader audience as well as the core gamers. Graham, for me the big question mark of the show is the strange Venn diagram of Jonathan Nolan Geneva game. For me, the biggest question mark of the show is the strange Venn diagram of Jonathan Nolan, Geneva, and me, and what, if anything, do our three voices have in common? I think the discovery was that if Geneva likes it, Jonathan likes it, and I like it, a lot of other people will like it too. That numerically has proven, and it has been a happy surprise. It is harder knowing that not every one of your ideas is going to fit with everyone else's, but it forces you to expand a bit and get all three of us to try things outside of our comfort zone. Fallout streams exclusively on Amazon Prime. Well, all my gamer friends, that was the interview. A couple of nuggets there. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more hinting towards season 2, but oh well, what are you going to do? It's still a great interview, and I liked it, so if you liked it too, comment and let me know what you thought of it. Also, don't forget to subscribe. But above all else, don't forget to keep gaming.